Okay, well, I'm supposed to be saying something on this show. Let me turn down Epidurious, although I love it. But we'll just have that down and a little bit low. Makes it seem like we're in a dentist's office somewhere. Let me get the microphone away from the computer. Fan is on high speed. Let's, give that a little more ventilation. Okay, so here we are. It's Thursday. It's been feeling like Friday for the last 3 days. Lots been going on. Number one, we got our new iPhone 13 Pro Max with the super duper cameras that have greater sensitivity, lower light capability with less blur. And then anyway, so we got Marilyn's phone on Friday. We got my phone 2 days ago, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, which was ahead of schedule. I wasn't supposed to get mine till next week, but the things at AT&T are speeding up. And if you look over on the right side of the screen, there we go. Now I got a full screen image of Marilyn in her brand new Toyota Camry. Why can't I grab that? There it is. Camry. Hybrid. There it is. In living color. And fuel cost is $7.50. She's going to save $2,750 over 5 years because of the hybrid feature and the fact that she will average about 45 miles per gallon. Son Daniel has the same car, and he's had it for several months. He has the exact same car, different color. Marilyn's is jet black, midnight black metal with black interior. We're talking black on black and black. And he has something that's like a really dark gray, or black that's, not quite so black. Anyway, this is the sticker it's the standard sticker, goes in the window. $33,633 car. It's got $1,000 goodies added to it. Pretty much everything is standard nowadays with these cars, to keep up with the competition. This is the first new car Maryland's had in 4.5 years. We had Honda Accords, and we had it for a 3-year lease, and we extended it for another year, so that makes that a 4-year lease. And it was like 3 or 4 months ago when we sold it to CarMax and captured the equity because of the chip shortage or whatever. They can't get cars. The value of the car was a lot more than the payoff on the lease. So we went to CarMax. They paid off the lease and gave us a check for $7,500. What's wrong with that story? Hey, yo. So, and we had 2 of them that matured within 1 month. So we sold both of them. And for about a couple of weeks, we were Ubering everywhere because we had no car. So we went from having 2 Honda Accords to 0 cars. And then on June 11th, we got our Tesla. And yesterday, we got the Camry. So now we're back to 2 cars and 2 lease payments, 2 insurance payments. So I better get out there and start washing some dishes or something. Anyway, so there's Marilyn's car. Let me make a full screen of that if I can. There we go. And then we go here, and then you can see her dashboard. She's on the 3rd floor. I asked her to drive me down to the 2nd level, which was where my Tesla was charging. How crazy is that? I plug it in. Never go to a gas station. And there we go. And what has she got on the radio? Fox and Friends. The first thing. The poor woman can't get away from it. And she has the temperature on 70. You can see that. AC is synced, whatever that means. You know, so left and right is synced. Here's a different kind of a view. There you see Marilyn's hand. Here you can see the whole side of Marilyn's face. You can see that she's coming out of the parking garage, coming around the turn. Oh, here's a better shot. She looks like she's on the the speedway, hopefully, coming out of the garage. She's got her purple container there, which I fill with iced tea every day. And let's see. If I go, I pull it down. Oh, there it is. See, I took it with my super duper camera, 12 megapixel, 1600 ISO, f1.8, and it was captured at 7:36 in the morning today. How cool is that? That's called EXIF, E-X-I-F, EXIF data. Yeah, she's coming around the screen. Oh, here's something else. Tesla has a safety score rating, which, let me see. You can do the Tesla. So they want to test your driving skills for a week. And there we go. So as of September 30, so that's 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So for 6 days, my average scores are, let's see if we can get a big one of me. Yeah, there we go. Get it right up there. 99. That's my score there. You can probably see it better on that. Right there. Yeah. Whoops, sorry. Whacked the microphone. Everyone just fell off their lunch table. There we go. So my score is 99. It was 100 for a couple of days, and now it's drifted down to 99, which ought to be good enough, you would think, to satisfy Tesla's requirement for having the full service driving beta button put on my car so I could play with the full service driving features. I was commenting to a friend of mine and basically said, this is probably a gimmick for Elon Musk to delay it another week. Every time we get close, it seems to elude our grip like a greased watermelon. And anyway, so in the meantime, we got Marilyn in a brand new Toyota. And it's a gorgeous car. I mean, there's something about new car smell. It's really stimulating as you walk out of there with an empty wallet. It wasn't too bad. So here's my I am now. This is a graph of all the software versions that are out there in cars. And you see my model is Model Y. There's my phone number, my zip code, and version 2021 3222. And there's 26.9% of all Toyotas, what do you call it? Teslas are on that software version. 10% are on the other one. And then there's 24% still on 2411. And I don't know. You don't really have any choice with this stuff. Tesla basically sends you a link and you download and install. So you're at their mercy to send you a link to upgrade. Now, why of those 24% of those cars, maybe they're all manufactured before October 2 years ago, where they have hardware version 2, where they had 4 or 5 cameras. Now they have 8 cameras. They got a super duper computer. Well, version 2 hardware has fewer cameras and a computer that's 1/40th the speed. So they really put in a high power computer in the newer cars as of October a couple of years ago. But that being said, there are 800,000 cars on the road with hardware version 3. Now, we just got our Tesla and it's hardware version 3. And everybody that has hardware version 3 has the same stuff. There's no hardware version 3 that's better, faster than one that was installed a couple of years ago. So I imagine, this is a guess, that the people in this column that says 24.3% of firmware versions, they're probably cars that only have hardware version 2. So it'd be no sense in upgrading their firmware to get the full service driving capabilities, because they can't do it. You got to have hardware version 3 or else it won't work. So, that's a little bit of a guess. Now, they have to update their firmware sooner or later, but it will probably skip over this version into another version. So it'll allow their car to have an upgraded firmware version with some features, new features and things. But it won't have anything to do with full service driving. Full self-driving, rather. FSD. And the idea with full self-driving. Now remember, this thing I showed you with the 99% or whatever. Let's see if we can find that graphic here. Oh, there it is. That little doodad. So you gotta have, I don't know what the cutoff is, but they want you to be a good driver for you to qualify to test drive the beta version of full self-driving, FSD. And so they only want the best drivers. They don't want crazy drivers, testing out their software, because it's it's a liability thing. So when you're trying out beta software and it's a release to the general public, but at least they're doing the best they can to try to put it in the hands of Tesla drivers that are the best of the best drivers. Now, I would imagine Tesla drivers are better than a lot of just any old drivers, because they're driving a Tesla, number one. Number two, it's at least a $55,000 car. The Model 3, you could probably get in for 45,000. Ours is 55,000, and the Model Y, the Model X is like 100, over 100,000. The S is right at 100,000, and you could add features to make it a lot more. And they have a Roadster, so Tesla's got three or four models that are a lot more expensive than the Model Y. We're second from the bottom. Okay, we're not the cheapest, we're one up from the cheapest. So it's like a mini SUV. Not so many. It's a full-size car, but it's not quite as big as the Model X, like Exit, the Model X SUV. That's their biggest car, and that's 100 and, to have it outfitted the way I would want it, it's 130,000. I priced it out just for jollies. There was a time where I drove my last year's birthday, actually. It's literally March 20th. We needed a lease car because Marilyn got rear-ended by somebody when she was stopped at a red light on Clays Road. So we had a $40 allowance with the insurance company of the other car, the car at fault. So we had $40 allowance to go to Enterprise and go get a car. So when we were walking in the place, there was a black Tesla Model S like Sam over on the right side, right next to the front door. So I said, hey, so what's going on with that Tesla? Is that something is that a customer car, or is that one of your fleet that we could lease? He said, oh, no, it's available fleet. It's all ready to go. I said, well, take it. How much? $50 a day. Sold. So for $10 a day, because we got 40 from the insurance company, and we paid 10, so for $10 a day, I drove the Model S, like Sam, for, 8 or 9 days. I turned it in. Marilyn says, keep it until it, and I said, let me just drive. I just want to find out what the Model S is all about. But every time I get in and out of the thing, I bang my head on the roof of the car. I said, what the heck is, I don't fold in half quite as well as I used to. So, the heck with this one. So I said, well, the nice thing about driving this for a week is I determined I don't want it. Because every time I get in and out of the car, I tried to bend a little bit more, and I still kept banging my head. So I'm thinking, God, this is crazy. So then they came out with the Model Y, and they had a lot of conversation about the Model Y. And one of the things is they increased from the seat to the top of that opening in the, where you get in the car, is 6 inches more height from your butt to the exit of the car. I said, Marilyn, that's the car for me, because I can't get in and out of the S. And, so the Model Y, went into the, they have a store in our mall at the Boca Town Center Mall, or whatever they call that mall now. And they have a showroom, with cars and things. 3 different kinds of cars. And I went in and out of the Model Y. I said, hey, this works. I can get in and out of this one without hitting my head. So anyway, we got the Model Y on June 11th of this year. A day of infamy. Anyway, June 11th. Oosh. And Marilyn got her car yesterday, September 29th. So now we are a 2-car family again, and a marvelous Camry hybrid. And they, because we drove around a little bit, and she drove me in the parking lot last night, and she drove me in the parking garage this morning. So I sat in the car. It's a, plus when they were doing the paperwork and stuff, we sat in the car and, looked around and saw the buttons and knobs and things. And I'm sure Marilyn enjoyed driving that car to work this morning. And she pops out of that car and has a little spring in her feet as she got in the Seacoast Bank parking lot and danced into the front door to have a couple of meetings and things. Yeah, I think she's got some kind of a cocktail thing at the new Mexican restaurant in Meisner Park, which we had lunch in 2 weeks ago. It's marvelous. For Mexico, I don't like, I'm a Chinese food guy. I'm not real big on the Mexican food. I'm a taco guy, right? I like Taco Bell. Everyone likes all this other fancy schmancy stuff. A little hot this and not so hot that, So I got, I ate there with Marilyn, and she had all the chips and the dip and 3 different sauces, and I'm not really a chips and dip guy either. So what did I get? A rice bowl. A big bowl with, it's grounded in, like a mild white or brown rice. And then they have 3 or 4 different things sitting on it. Your choice of some kind of meat, and this, I forget what else is in it. But it was good. I ate just about all of it. So if I go back there again, I'll probably get another rice bowl. Because once I find something I can actually live with in the restaurant that I basically don't like, the food, I go to the same thing every time. So I may look around a little bit more, but I'll probably settle for that rice bowl again because it was actually quite good. Anyway, I'm really delighted with this. I reinstalled this Shure microphone. This will do that right here. It is so sensitive. It can catch you breathing. I mean, I had one of these and I sent it back because it wasn't. This thing is like so sensitive. It's unbelievable. It can catch you talking. I'm this far away and whispering, and I'm turning up the gain over here on my and you can hear the fan from my laptop. So we'll just turn it down a bit so we don't hear the background noise, and I can speak up a little bit louder so you can hear me. Everyone can hear me, but this microphone is so... I actually had one of these when I was a kid, with a radio license. So I had it the other way, on a table stand, and I found the instruction book. How crazy is that? When we moved for the second time, and it was dated like 1954. You talk about an old design, but they kept this design, which is so unique. And anytime you see some kind of venue where they want to indicate that, like the old-fashioned, what do you call it, or they use this microphone. But what they did is, about 5 years ago, is they put the most modern sound capsule inside this microphone. They took out the old sound capsule and they put in a new sound capsule which reflects Shure, S-H-U-R-E, Shure's most modern capsule design that would fit in a cabinet of this thing. But it's this beautifully polished pewter case. I'm not too sure what the metal is, but it's it has a brushed finish, so it's not shiny, kind of a dull. I would say it's harder than pewter. It may even be stainless steel for all I know. But it's a very solid. Hear that? I'm scraping the microphone. Oops, sorry. Ew. So this has been a big week. The other news is that, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I resigned from FAU Sports for taking their action sports photography and their grin and grab shots. Marilyn and I were the grin and grabbers. There are three of us, with Marilyn, four of us that had field passes. Two of the guys, Ralph and Ridley, they had the big lenses and all this stuff, and they would cover the action sports photography only. And Marilyn and I did the grin and grab. Now, before Marilyn and I just elected to do that, they were running around like crazy trying to do everything. So finally, Katrina McCormick, the sports information lady, said, look, Jimmy and Marilyn are going to take care of this. I'll give them the shooting schedule, because, it's all choreographed right down to the minute. And, the second quarter, the second time out, whoosh, everybody runs out to the 15-yard line because it's a break, where the guy comes out on here and there's a commercial break going on. Well, they have a commercial break going on. FAU is handing out prizes and awards and diplomas and signed footballs and all that. Well, Jimmy and Marilyn are the ones that shoot that. So the guy that wrote that $500,000 check, we take that picture, with 30 million pixels. We get it from a couple of different angles because Marilyn's next to me, a little side, this way, that way. And we put it on our website. And we, edit the pictures a little bit and balance them, enhance the exposure if it needed. The cameras are pretty good these days, but still, just check it out. So, and then I put it up on our website. And then I send Katrina McCormick, the sports information assistant director, I send her the link. And they open up a unique album that I create for that sporting event, football and other, this team versus that, the FAU versus, Air Force or whatever. And they can go see the shots. They can download them. They do download them. And they're 30 million pixels. They're very high resolution, high definition, high quality, the best quality that there is. We've got the best, newest photographic equipment, period. I have to, to be on field and do that. So we were like our own little Associated Press. We'd put them right up there on our own website. They'd go down. I'd send them a link. They'd go get them. And we would take, between 200 and 300 pictures each. So that means it'd be 400 or 500 pictures, And so I would take the very best, 20 or 30, and move. They're all in date and time order. Marilyn's camera was tuned to the same time as my camera within a second, so that when we were pushing the buttons, from different angles, it was like in the same time, maybe one ahead of hers, and mine ahead of hers, but we had our clocks in the camera were, I made sure every week that our cameras were synced, within a second or a half a second. So that way I'd sort all the pictures in time and date order, but then I would pick out 20 or 30 shots and move them to the front, because I didn't want Katrina or anyone that was directed to that web page to have to sort through 500 shots to find the one they want. So what I would do is I would put what I would consider, and we've been doing this a while, publisher quality photos in the front. like 20 or 30 of them, no more than 30. Usually these guys don't want more than 5. They put you on assignment, send me 5 shots, and they expect you to do what I'm talking about. But you know what? We put everything except for a picture of an elbow. We get that out of there. But you take a picture and someone puts their arm in front of you by mistake. Anyway, so we get rid of the calls, call out the bad ones, and because when you're taking pictures of people on field, the dancers, the girls are jumping up and down, they're standing on shoulders and all this kind of stuff. We take family pictures, so to speak, because it's somebody's daughter, somebody's son. Even people in the stand. There's sons and daughters of people that are in the stand. Parents sent these kids to school. So, we get, tens of thousands of people looking at these shots every week. And they're the families of everybody that has anything to do with FAU football. If my son was in the stadium, they can look around through these pictures and see if they can see their own son in the stadium. What the heck? We all used to do that. So that's why we have so many shots. And that's why I publish all of them except for the terrible ones. Things where people are bent over and, bad pose, stuff that's not family suitable, we don't publish those. Some guys on the side of the field, they try to take pictures of people in compromising positions. We're the opposite. I don't think that's very nice to do. So we get rid of everything that was taken by mistake. Anyway, so last week we retired. I said, Marilyn, the temperature on the field is 100 degrees. I'm 103. I just don't know if I really want to go stand out on that field for 4 or 5 hours taking pictures. The game is not until, for a couple hours from now. And how about if I send Katrina a thank you very much, but we're done. And Marilyn says, oh, thank you. So, she's such a loyal dog. She's a sweetheart. So she's been wanting to quit for 3 years, but she wouldn't because she knows I like to do this. So she would, tough it out with me. She said, yeah, I could have stopped 2 or 3 years ago, but I didn't have the heart to, bail out on you, and then you have to go there by yourself or retire early. So anyway, we retired last Saturday, or the Saturday before last, in that home game, and it was like a 6 o'clock kickoff. So it was going to be like an evening thing, but it was still 100 degrees on the field. Feels like 102. I said, you know what, Marilyn, we're not going to do this. So anyway, I had a 45 million pixel Canon camera I was going to use on field. I was going to test it out. And what do? I up and retire. So what am I going to do with a 45 million pixel Canon R5 camera? Well, so get rid of this sucker. Send it right back to Adorama. We don't need. I'll settle for the 30 million pixel R1 that we have, or 2 of them, and we will do without the R5 45 million. It's a beautiful camera. I mean, you look at one, you look at the other, they look identical. But the Imager literally has a 45 million pixel resolution. 8,000 pixels by 6,500. It's huge. I mean, it's a huge file. But, for the very best FAU sports imaging, we had the very best camera. But you know what? I got this camera and sent it back. They got it in the returns department today. I checked it on UPS. They signed for it at 10:27 this morning. So sometime, tomorrow or Monday, we'll credit our accounts, and that'll be the end of the R5. And I carefully package everything back. Just got to save all the packing material. All right, so we retired from FAU. We got a couple of new cars, or a new car. And what else happened in the last couple? There's a lot of stuff going on. So we got another R1 coming back with a grip. Marilyn decided she wants to use the grip. Now we just have to find something to photograph. I got we have a Tesla with a, what do you call it, a tow hitch, which is a 2-inch by 2-inch steel pipe, rectangular pipe that is welded into the frame of the thing. So when I ordered the car, I said, yep, I want the tow kit. So what do you want the tow kit for? Well, not so much to tow, a thing with 2 wheels behind me. It's to plug in this bike rack. So we have 2 bicycles. So Marilyn says, we need to be able to take our bikes somewhere else, with the car. And then we take the bikes out of the car, and then we can ride around, some public parks that have bike paths. So we're not like fighting traffic all the time. And I said, all right, well, that's a good idea. So where would you like to go? So she tells me these different parks around, within 10 miles that have nice bike paths. And I said, okay. So I already have the tow hitch. I got the authorized, approved Tesla bike rack plug-in that goes into fits perfectly into the hitch that we haven't, built into the car. Oh my God. All right, so let me answer this. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm on my way to get my license taken care of.
Yeah?
I couldn't do it over the phone. It has to be in person. And I tried to make an appointment.
All right, so why are you calling me?
Never mind.
So what do you have to do? Do you have to pay a fee?
I don't know. I couldn't get through to anybody.
Oh.
Go in person, schedule an appointment. First appointment available is November 4th, which is my first day of vacation to go up with the girls and
Yeah. Yeah.
So you asked me to take care of it, so I'm trying to respond to you.
Oh yeah, you got to do it. So you show up. You can just show up and take a number.
I
And,
have to wait in line, yeah.
yeah. You got to do it. Yeah. To validate our insurance and everything else. Okay.
Right.
All right.
All right, fine.
Let me know how it goes.
Yep.
Okay. So here's another little story. Nice. So so we had these 2 Hondas, right? So we sold both cars and ended up not having a car for a while, because both Hondas were sold. So Maryland goes to get this car, and they do, background checks, make sure your license is valid and any of it. And it comes back and says the guy comes out to us and says, Marilyn, we have a problem. What's that? Houston, we have a problem. Her license has been canceled because of FR. FR, infraction. So the Tesla guy looks up FR infraction, and it has something to do with, you don't have insurance on the car. And I said, well, John, we don't have a car. You don't insure not having a car. You insure a car. So for some reason or other, the insurance industry and that deals with cars in Florida is directed to tell the Motor Vehicle Bureau when insurance is canceled. And it never came to light by the Florida Motor Vehicle that you don't have insurance when you don't have a car, and you're allowed to have a license even though you don't have a car, right? I mean, you can be a properly licensed driver. You don't have a car, but you may want to rent a car, like an Enterprise or something. So you only use your license when you're driving on vacation. Otherwise, you take Uber or who knows what. Anyway, so that was that phone ringing was Marilyn calling me to tell me she's on the way to the motor vehicle thing because I said, "Hey, Marilyn, you got to fix this because you're not an uninsured motorist. You're an unlicensed driver. Your license has been canceled." So you got to go uncancel your license and probably prepare to pay some kind of stupid fee. And while you're at it, change your address to 812 instead of 801. Yep, so she was telling me she's on her way. So we'll see. These governmental bodies have got nothing to do than to aggravate the public. I mean, they're just designed to aggravate you. Really? You're going to cancel the license because we sold the cars? Where is it in the license law that says you even have to have a car? Yeah. So instead of reaching out to you with a letter or something that says, "Oh, it's come to our attention that you canceled the insurance on these two cars. Can you please, fill out the following check marks?" Well, we sold, number one should be you sold the car, which would mean you don't need insurance on a car you sold. So therefore, we cancel the insurance on the car that was sold. You don't just cancel the license. And they did it last month, July 21, which God knows what the meaning of that date is. There is no meaning for that date. That's when they got around to it. Anyway, so she's on her way to the Motor Vehicle Bureau, and she's going to have to stand in line and wait because the next available appointment is November 4th. What is this? That's probably 2022. Hey, jeez. So she's, it's like she's got nothing better to do than spend her lunch hour, or whatever it is, standing in line at the Motor Vehicle Bureau, clearing up license error FR. You want to look that up. Anyway, so that's just one more little thing I forgot to tell you about. So that's about all the news at the print. It's about 1:10, and there's all kinds of news things going on. I think Nancy Pelosi is going to pull a vote in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, to see if she's got enough votes to pass this $3.5 trillion monstrosity. We haven't spent the last $2 trillion, and they want another $3. This is all a plan. The plan is to break us down into a mommy, I'll take care of you government, which, people can work, people cannot work. It's other than that. They're going to tax the people that work like crazy because there's so many people that, sitting around with their hands out. So, and right now, more than half of the potential taxpayers, actually less than half of those that are capable of paying taxes, are paying taxes. In other words, you got 50. It was like a break even last year or the year before. So now it's like 51% of the people that could pay tax, but they don't because of exemptions and that, 51% don't pay any tax, and the 49% pay all the tax. Now, the ones at the very top, 10%, the top 10% of the wage earners in the United States pay 70% of all the taxes. The top 10%. That means the bottom, not the bottom 90%, the top 10% pay 70% of all the taxes in this country. And yet the liberals are running around talking about the fair share. What the hell kind of fair share is that? When the top 10% are paying 70%. So they've constantly jamming these taxes where the top wage earners keep paying a bigger and bigger percent of all the taxes that are collected. So it's nuts. So they're trying to turn us into a welfare state. And the problem is when you have more people that got their hands out and getting something, when it comes to election time, hey, yeah, I want to vote for that person that's going to give me a check. I'm not going to vote for that guy that's going to take the check away. So you get to the point where there's no possible way that a conservative can get elected, because the people, the have-nots hate the haves. The have-nots hate the haves. My mother told me that little expression when I was 10 years old. And, talking, in the Kennedy years and all that kind of stuff. So when I was a little whippersnapper, my mother always said the have-nots hate the haves. Jealousy. They always will. They think you did something sinister to get to the point where you're making more money than the person across the street. And the jealousies are terrible. Anyway, so that's today's vote. Hopefully that she doesn't pull the vote. She's not going to pull the vote unless she can win. And she needs to have, I think, 218 votes. And there's 3 votes difference between winning that and not. So if just 3 people peel off against that measure out of the 218 votes that she's got as Democrats, and if they vote for it, guess what? They'll not be reelected in 2022. So those people are saying, well, if I vote for this, I'm out of here. I'll be packing my bags, next year. So some of these Democrats got elected during a wave that came through. Actually, it wasn't much of a wave. When Biden got elected, some of these people, retained their seats or got their seats because Biden got elected. But in 2022, there's probably going to be a wave back, kind of an undertow, and a lot of the people that were in very even districts are now going to get knocked out of their seat because these guys are spending money like crazy. And even people that are liberally minded, which I actually am a liberally minded, but I'm a conservative. You don't spend more than you have. And, right now our deficit's like $28 trillion. Now these guys want to spend 3.5 more, which the Congressional Budget Office says, well, it's really 5.5 million, but who's counting? The bill says 3.5, but it's actually going to turn out to be over 5.5 trillion. We add 5.5 trillion to 28 trillion. You're over 30, something trillion. And, you get to the point where you have no way of paying it back. Well, who's pay it back to who? So the who is, they got to sell treasury bills in order to raise this money to spend money that you don't have, right? If you're only collecting, we're collecting, about 3.5 trillion in taxes every year. Remember the top, percent that pay all the taxes? We're collecting about 3.5 trillion in revenues every year. with the economy the way it is right now. So if you spend more than 3.5 trillion, then you're spending more than than you've earned. So the federal government earns 3.5 trillion due to its taxes, and if they spend 4.5 trillion, then we're a trillion underwater. So where does that money come from? Every Thursday, there's a treasury auction. And those treasury bills, cost, 1 or 2%. That's the interest rate on it, 1, 2, 3%, whatever. So they have to raise money by selling treasury bills. Every Thursday, there's an auction where those bills are auctioned off. And if you're down a trillion, you gotta sell 8 or 900 billion worth, every month, or 200 billion every Thursday. So several hundred billion every Thursday have to be sold in order to raise, a trillion or so of money, because they need, from a cash flow standpoint, you can't spend the money if you don't actually have the money. So they sell treasury bills, they just print them up and sell them at an auction, and, they use that money to pay the bills that exceed the 3.5 trillion that our tax revenues brings in every year. So that's what's going. Now you add another. Really, we're going to add another 5 trillion to that. It gets to the point where. So what happens is the Chinese, the Japanese, the Germans, the Saudis, and the French, and other wealthy industrialized corporations and super wealthy individuals, they show up at the treasury auctions and buy these treasury bills. Okay, and if the buying public, if you will, if those folks decide, these, buying these treasuries from the United States government, it's looking pretty shaky. I don't know if they're going to be able to pay. So they have a 1-year maturity, a 2-year maturity. There's a variety of different maturity dates. So if China, Japan, and these other huge companies, Germany, if they decide that our treasuries are not going to be able to pay our debt, then they stop buying them. And what happens is the yield on the treasury auctions the next Thursday goes up, because, at 1%, 2%, but if it raises to 4, 5, 6%, maybe I'll buy some because the rate is so good. I'll take the chance. So what does that mean? That means the interest rate on our debt goes up, which adds to the problem, because we can't, remember, we're upside down, so we can't pay the rate as it is, much less a higher rate. So it's like a snowball effect, and it can, the rates can go all the way up to 20, kill the economy, make it even harder for us to, pay the treasury bills. We start going in default, and the country goes into bankruptcy, which would be, catastrophic. It'd just be catastrophic. It's, it looked like Europe, when, during the war. So that's why you can't keep doing this. Sooner or later, everyone's going to have to wake up and say, we can't keep doing this. And, this is like the last big, huge push, because they think they can get away with it. Because these liberals, they want a nanny society where the government takes care of, 30-year-olds. Really? And, anyway, so if you want to have a free country, everyone's going to have to get out and vote in 2022 and, get away from some of these liberals, so that the majority swings a little bit the other way, so we can stop all this craziness, because you cannot spend more than you have. And we're right at this tipping point, and everyone thinks this is like, we'll worry about it next year. Well, it's not going to be a next year. Sooner or later, you got more debt than you have capability of paying, and it's not up to you, because the Germans and the Saudis and the Chinese are going to say, you know what, this is the time where we can really whack the United States and get back at them and not have to fire one bullet. Let's just hit them below the belt, and we'll stop buying their treasuries, because treasury bill rates are going up. They're selling more treasuries than they have the ability to repay, and we can put this country upside down just by not buying their treasury bills. So instead of having a war with rifles and armies, they just take away our money, take away our currency. The currency will just fail. If the currency fails, everybody's going to be walking around with, looking for handouts for food. It'll be terrible. It'll be like a depression squared. It'll be the worst possible thing that could. But you know what? I'll tell you what. It can happen, and it can happen really soon. In the next couple of 3 or 4 years, we only got a couple of years to go. And if we keep going down this road, it's going to be, I'm a biochemist, so, but I was a banker for 30 years, and I got to know a little bit about Treasury securities and a little bit about, how money is raised and how it's applied and what our taxes are. If you start really paying attention to this stuff, it's not actually that complicated. I'll have another session on this on another day. But anyway, so it's 1:18 right now. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. So we've been on the air for a while. So let's give it a rest. And 59 minutes and 18 seconds actually we've been on the air. And I hope some of you have listened live. I have a capability where you can call in, but most people are a little on the shy side. And you can listen to this even though it's not live, because it'll be on YouTube in about 5 minutes. And I'm going to shut it down right now, and I wish you have a what happened to Epidarius? Did we lose Epidarius? I lost my background music. Oh. There we go. All right, that's the end of this broadcast. Everyone's happy that it's the end of this broadcast. You have a great Thursday, and maybe we'll check in with you tomorrow.